camera a tiny bit and just see if I can adjust this a bit. All right. So what I see here for you, Cancer, is actually some pretty good cards, although very deep, powerful reading for you. So I'm going to go through them just on a general basis, and then we'll go through things a little bit more specific. And then again, summary advice, all of that, career, money, finance, relationships. So this may be your story. If not, check back. So what I'm seeing here is I'm just going to go through the first cards and just give you the, again, general idea of the cards. So we've got, and then we'll do the clarifiers. Ten of Cups is your main energy out. Most of the cards that I see here are all kind of the minor arcana, except for the major ones is your Chariot, and then further out, there's the Fool. So overall, Ten of Cups is, of course, dealing with you're looking for happiness. You're looking for the things that make you happy. This is long term. This is definitely something that you invest in. This is also dealing with family. Now, the Judgment is also like there's some kind of epiphany moment or some kind of decision that you're about to make that's quite substantial for you. That could be in around your happiness, could be in around family as well, or all. There's more of a give and take with the Six of Cups. Again, this is dealing with things relating around the past. There's a level of nostalgia, things that you're dealing with that you're coming to some kind of conclusion about with the Six of Cups. And again, we'll go through a little more detail. This is just the general energy. We also have the Queen of Swords, so this could be dealing with air sign energy. Libra, Gemini, Aquarius is also coming out here. So that is coupled with the King of Cups. So again, could be water sign energy yourself that's coming through in this read. There may have been someone that you were at a little bit of a distance from in regards to this particular connection. So but either way, just take it as it resonates. Could be also a masculine figure here as well. We also had the Emperor that came out here as well. And again, we have the Chariot that is also kind of very focused on, I would say, very focused on your happiness, but also focused on what makes you happy. Very career oriented here, like lots of motivation toward accomplishing something basically. So it looks to me as though there's like big major internal shifts that are going on here. But anyway, we'll kind of go through it here in a sec. And then the Seven of Wands, you're pushing through. This is something where you still have the upper hand. You're in a good position. There is something here around a Gemini here as well. Gemini is prevalent with the Lovers card for me. Could also be around a relationship scenario. There is something about you keeping, you're more closed off. You're more inclined to be withdrawn, I would say, at this time. Seven of Swords, there could have been something here that ticked you off about that situation there as well with that particular sign. But there's also the Five of Pentacles, still not feeling quite worthy or good enough or something on some level, possibly in the financial area. You're still in a space of not really feeling like you're quite mastering everything yet. But it's, again, a big major internal shift going on here. So the Three of Swords, again, there could have been a betrayal, heartbreak, something like that. Conflict that you're still sort of dealing with here. But either way, we're almost to the end of these, and then we'll go through and tie it all together. Nine of Wands, you are almost to the end of this cycle. So the Nine of Wands is a push-through scenario here. You've just got kind of one last little thing that you might have to deal with before you kind of get to the other side of things. But the Nine of Wands still speaks to an end cycle. You are so close to finishing up with something here around probably I would say that heartbreak and betrayal and all of that. You're just kind of dealing with the residual energy of things. Four of Pentacles, still feeling pulled back, withdrawn, restraining, not a lot of forward motion. But it also speaks to really focusing on the money. But you're not just focusing on money. There is, like I said, you're focusing on money, you're focusing on happiness. You're actually making decisions in this month that, to kind of better your life and bring in more positivity. The Four of Swords does speak to, still at a bit of a crossroads to a certain extent, but you're also putting more um, time and energy into pulling back and healing, and that's what the rest and recuperation is with the Four of Swords. You're putting more time into you to kind of get back to you, because that's what the Emperor is. This is also dealing with Aries energy, but it's also coming back to one's level mind. This is being in control and in charge of one's life. So it feels like you're really moving in the right direction. Now, the final cards out were the Fool card. So again, this is going on a new adventure, starting something new, or doing things that you don't normally, venture into, but you're looking forward to that. You are still in a healing phase, but you're definitely in a space of finishing up a cycle. Ten of Swords, whatever the conflicts, the betrayal, the hard stuff, that is pretty much dealt with as far as the verbal stuff and the magnitude of the um, insults or whatever harsh words there were. Hi, Magla. And I'm sorry, I don't know I can't understand the translation on the question there, but good to see you here regardless. But the Ten of Swords to me, like I said, you've been dealing with a lot. And like I said, it feels like a really big internal shift going on for you. So now let's just tie it all in. Okay, so Ten of Cups, like I said, it feels like you're going into some kind of huge emotional upgrade. This is a major internal shift. Like I said, this is a full karmic release, spiritual transformation, and you're really showing up with a lot of resilience in this period. I would say that this is kind of pre-birthday energy. This is really a time frame that sort of falls between April and July 2025. So take that as it resonates. But April is where we're starting, and the energy kind of trickles out. But I feel like you're in this self-evaluation space. Like I said, you're really in a space of trying to set your intentions. Sort of align the path with who you really have become now, because you're setting clearer boundaries. You have higher self-worth. You're stronger than you were before, and it's almost like at your core, you're stronger than you were before. So there's something there that kind of speaks to, like I said, you being pulled toward more emotional fulfillment, because this is a letting go of the past in a really big way. There's also this energy here about healing inner child wounds, that kind of thing. And you're choosing freedom, you're choosing hope, and there's a forward momentum. Again, with the Fool's Star and the Chariot, that's forward momentum entirely. And that is going forward with more hope. So then we're going to get into some of the other stuff here. Like I said, let me just pull this to the side here. Okay, now despite all of that, for sure, you're still in a space of being quite guarded. Again, we'll take you through a little bit here on the career, money, finance, and love life as well, for those that would resonate for if you're interested. But either way, I just feel like you're in a really big shift in the next few months. You're not in that space of wanting to hit the bottom. You are now, if you did hit bottom, you're now in a space where you want to move forward. So it's like you've made up your mind, you're in recovery mode, and you may feel a little mentally foggy or emotionally detached. And again, there can be some possible isolation there because of the Four of Swords, but also because of the Five of Pentacles. But there's something here about, having dealt with issues around self-worth, those wounds, feeling rejected, things along that line. But either way, even in terms of health related anxieties, those kinds of things also kind of play out because of that Nine of Wands energy. That sort of speaks to anxiety and those kinds of things. Sorry, guys. Just sorry. Consider that a bit of a wake up. All right. Sorry about that. Just a camera failure. I'm just going to reset here a little bit. But either way, like I said, overall, I still feel like you're tired. You're still standing, but you're tired. You're resilient. A lot of good things still coming out here. Now, as far as your career, I would say you're really in take charge mode. Like I said, we've got the Emperor here. So this is you wanting to really take charge of your career, take charge of your whatever it is that's going to be building something solid for you. I feel like you're in a space of really, you don't want to be taken advantage of. You're afraid of losing stability. You're trying to get back to a place where you can expand from, instead of, live out of survival or defense. So it's things along that line, because this is you stepping into more of a leadership role, basically. And it does indicate that there is stronger energy. It takes some time to control the path, but it's also you're more capable than you think with that kind of energy. So if you're not self-employed, you could be down the road, but you're moving into a position of authority regardless. And you're looking at how you're redefining yourself in some way about how you show up. So you want to be seen as more of a professional. And so despite the fact that money might be a little bit tight with that Four of Pentacles here, I feel like you're still moving into a space where you're building something more long term. So basically, advice to you is trust the vision. Keep showing up for yourself, because you're in creator mode. Now, the other part of it is for the energy around, this is romantic stuff now. So let's go back into the Lover's card. All right, so going into a little bit of the relationship stuff. So with the Lover's card, and then we had the King of Cups, Queen of Swords, Three of Swords, Seven of Swords, Six of Cups. Does feel like you would have been dealing with someone from the past for sure. Definitely a lot of heartbreak there. It certainly feels like there has been a healing of something that was deceptive for you. And again, there's still emotional pain and a level of avoidance. And again, you both might have played a part as far as the avoidance and all of that. But you're showing up now as the King of Cups. So what that tells me is there's a level of maturity that's starting to show here. So this is where this again, I feel is you, but you become a lot more guarded about how you go forward. But there's also a lot more clear about what you want from someone and how you want them to show up. So, in other words, you won't just accept any old love. You really want, someone that's going to sort of fit your, I don't want to say expectation, because really an expectation means you're waiting for somebody to fall into what it is that you have defined. But I feel like it's more, you have a criteria. You want somebody, let's say, that's working, or you want somebody that's goal oriented, or you want somebody that, is responsible enough to be mature enough to be engaged in a connection, more give and take, not all about one person giving, not all about one person taking, things like that. So those are the things you're kind of questioning about yourself, and, and trying to make some decisions on. But I also feel like, again, with that Lover's card, the Judgment card was there as well. And we also had the Six of Cups. So, I mean, even in terms of a relationship there, it feels like it's an epiphany. It's a karmic connection that was at play. There may be a returning of that soulmate. Again, let's hope that it's somebody that's more mature now, given all of the betrayal and all that other stuff. But I think you're more discerning now. So you'll know what you're looking at. And if it triggers you, you'll know that something's not quite healed within you, or, or your inner child. And so therefore it's easier to say, well, I'm not ready for this connection because, I'm not reliving the same history. You're at a point with the Judgment card where you're evaluating the lesson that you learned. So, does the true love match your healing, or does it match your wounds? Things like that. Now, there's also something there with the main energy, that past soulmate or karmic partner. Again, Six of Cups, Judgment, Three of Swords, which does indicate there is some pain. But again, I feel like that person may be also returning in some way. So, and again, there could also be a parent or a figure of authority with the Emperor, that, could have been impacting some sense around a trauma of some sort, or an emotional situation. So there might have been something there. So if you're holding on to a boundary and you're honoring your healing, you're going to find that those connections will either fall away if they weren't there for the long haul, or they will transform. So you're moving into a space where everybody's more truthful, more emotional, and more available for reconnection. That's what I would say. And again, you're going to know, be discerning. You're going to know which connections are there for the long haul. Now, there's also something here about a primary focus, for you, I would say, for again, April to July, however it plays out. Your primary focus is on healing. Because of the Judgment, like I say, the decisions that you're making right now is about healing your emotional body, your nervous system, letting go of the old stories of abandonment, rejection, and betrayal. And now you're stepping into more of a empowered place, because the Emperor tells me you're taking charge of your world again. Can't control everything, but you're certainly in a mode of, I'm just going to get things done, and so, if something did fall away, you'd get up and do it again and get something done, because that's kind of the energy you're in now. That was Emperor, and then again the Chariot and the Star. The strong ambition is what's showing up there, and healing. But you are moving in, moving past, the old stuff here, and now you're into the new stuff, which is the Fool energy here. So again, how are you feeling about yourself? Overall, I would say you're guarded, you're still wounded, but you're hopeful, you're wiser now, you're still in healing mode. I would say that you do have more of a desire to trust again, but you almost need proof, not promises. So there's something there around you you know, expecting somebody to also, if you're going to give something of yourself, somebody else also in turn has to kind of meet you halfway. So deep down, you're remembering what's happened, and now you're sort of saying, you know, you feel worthy of real love and a full life. And so that's what you're being guided toward in this next chapter. So there's something there about a final message where you're at a turning point. It's like a soul reset. You've got boundaries. You're getting clear on what you want emotionally. There's wisdom there, and you have more honesty with yourself. So the pain doesn't define you, the healing does. So either way, like I said, lots of good cards that are coming in here. And again, your primary energy is the healing, of course, but especially with the Ten of Swords, that cycle is over. That whatever it is that you faced, you're wiser now, and you're moving into a more positive space. Still going through a little bit of the healing. Again, still finding out what your triggers are, that kind of thing, and trying to figure out how to, you know, reframe things so that the triggers don't, again, don't define you. Because the healing is what is the healing that needs to define you, not the pains and the wounds. Anyway, that's what I've got for you, Cancer, for that little time frame again of April to July. Keep moving forward, and until next read.